Good morning. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome to the month of November. We're hitting it off with it's supposed to be actually a nice week this week. It's going to be warming up, I think, starting tomorrow.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hope you have your coffee ready. Hopefully it's full. We're kicking off week 5.
We're excited. So let's talk about week 4's recap of Loving Your Monday. What's in a brand? We talked quite a bit about your brand, how to develop and take a look at your brand, your core values, and how to start thinking about getting that out in front of everyone who knows you, likes you, loves you, and even some of those people who don't quite yet.
That's right. And if you're still looking to catch up on what we had last week, make sure you go to the Agent app to the featured posts. And there's a post there with every single video from last week, ranging from our kickoff all the way through Amy's message on Friday regarding be you, be great, don't overthink it.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about how we did this past week. Thanks to so many of you. We had a ton of surveys filled out on Saturday and Sunday. So we want to give a shout out to a few of you who had some really great feedback of successes that you've had over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and remember, we had so much great feedback. We had to choose 4 of those. So here are the 4 we have. Erin Kahn from Libertyville. What's really cool about this is she's been working with a client for a long time. This client hasn't bought or sold for 37 years. They've been in the same house. Well, this person recently sold their home. They're moving into a condo. They've been looking for a long time, but you can imagine after 37 years in the same home, the process is probably a little bit anxiety ridden. So what Erin did is she went on a walk. She really went the extra mile to make sure that this client felt comfortable with the decision, with the move, and it really was something that they haven't done for nearly half a century.
So Jen Ruffner from the Streeterville office, I absolutely loved her feedback. She said this past week, as she was thinking about branding herself and getting her brand out there, she said it was just so reaffirming for her. She said sometimes she feels that when she's focusing on branding, she feels very disingenuous. But what she recognized after all of the things we talked about last week is really just focusing on being authentic and delivering the message that she's really just there for all of her friends, family, and people that she knows to help them. And she said it was such a mind shift for her. And she recognized if she just put herself out there authentically and then let AdWorks, all the social media marketing and posts, all of the advertising kind of take care of the reinforcement of the brand, that's what's really going to help have her business take off. So I thought it was great because Jen, I think, really sort of shifted her mindset into just really loving what she does and being really authentic. And that honestly is going to help grow your business.
Yeah, really great. So congrats, Erin, congrats, Jen, and congrats, Holly Himmelman. Holly had to pivot, like all of us this year, in terms of what we can do in person, how we take care of our clients, how we operate our business. And so one of the things Holly did is she recently sold and closed on a home with a client. The client's girlfriend hadn't seen the property yet, but was coming into town. And Holly would normally do something different, but she pivoted. And what she did is ask them to choose a restaurant. So from a neighborhood restaurant, she had dinner delivered to them. So instead of being able to go out and enjoy the time, she brought the restaurant to them. So congrats, Holly. Way to make a move and pivot to something that still made an enormous impact in their lives.
Yep, way to get COVID creative, as I like to say. And then we've got Don Mikulski from the Park Ridge office. What I loved about this is Don decided to take the time to reach out to a couple of our super connectors to start developing really strong connections in her sphere of influence. But then she also wrote down a couple of really key things that are helping her take off and move forward. The first is she wrote down that there are 15 to 20 transactions waiting for me. I love that. Simply by putting that out in the universe, Don, you're going to get those 15 to 20 transactions. She also talked about really wanting to take that mind shift into being on purpose, that she wanted to be an on-purpose broker. For so many of us, we fall into opportunity by accident, but making that shift to being on purpose is awesome. And then she also wanted to position herself as the resource and taking her outreach seriously. She's focusing on 50 touches per week, which is 7 a day. And so she's already started with note cards, text, emails, and even trying to do those phone calls. So Dawn, great job. Stay focused on that routine. And I can guarantee you, you are on purpose and you're going to see those 15 to 20 transactions take off.
Yeah, it's so great. So congrats to everybody. Dawn, what Dawn mentioned here is all from Thursday's Ninja Accelerator. So if you want to catch up on that, make sure you go into the Agent app in that featured post section, and it's posted there where you can watch it.
And remember, these winners, you will all be receiving a $50 Visa gift card. So remember, spend it on yourself and try to spend locally if you can.
That's great. So this week, we're going to talk about exposure and why it's so important. And one of the things, this may sound common sense, but in reality, we have to focus on it. Otherwise, we're not creating the level of exposure that will get us to where we want to go. So why is it so important? Ultimately, it's important because the more exposure you have for your brand, the more exposure you get among those that you know, the more likely that they are to work with you, the more likely that you are going to grow that client base through referrals and also generate business from outside your sphere. So exposure really is the number one thing. We cannot be a secret agent.
It's so true. I mean, you talked about developing your brand, but step 2 is really, how do I get my brand out there in front of all the people I know, but in front of a lot of people who don't know me quite yet. So we want to talk about creating exposure for your business. And we want to ask you this: do you have your baseline plan set up? You should have a baseline plan that automatically is set up and runs for you to create exposure for your brand.
That's right. So these are not new things. These are not new things. Hopefully they're not new or the first time that you're hearing about them. And hopefully you're not eye rolling saying we're talking about this again. But the reason we do talk about this is the minimum standard, the non-negotiable, the baseline, as Amy just said, to be able to maintain and grow a business. So the first monthly direct mail, where we talk about monthly, set it and forget it. You give your database to marketing. A postcard goes out every month. They look at your name, face, and app properties. They're reminded of you. It is the only way to get something in their hand guaranteed with your name, face, and app properties for very inexpensive cost.
And very little time on your end. Once you get it set up, it just goes on its own. And it's super critical. The monthly e-campaign, that is another system or tool that we've got that makes it so easy for you. All of the people in your database will get the monthly newsletter. Again, it is a set it and forget it. And I know that so many of you say, but some people will unsubscribe or they don't take a look at it. Don't overthink it. All you can do is throw something out there. And for the 10% or 15% that maybe don't see it or unsubscribe, you still have the 80 or 85% that are taking a quick look. And all you want them to do is be able to see that newsletter in their email. Even if they delete it for that 1 second, they saw your name, they know you have a pulse, and they know you're in the business. So keep that in mind. That's the intention of the baseline. You want them to know you're in real estate. You want to make sure that you stay top of mind. That's it.
Yeah, and Amy just said, you said a really great point, which is don't overthink it. When we overthink things, we don't do them. They just don't happen. So let's go to AdWords Sphere. AdWords Sphere automatically targets the people whose email addresses you've uploaded into AdWords. And what's great about it, again, is with all these, you do nothing. You don't have to do a thing. You sign up for a year. You can swap out your ad, design a new ad. You can use the ad that's created for you. But at the end of the day, anyone that you upload and continue to upload throughout the year is going to see you as they're surfing the web. They think you're famous. And that's the phrase that we keep hearing when people do AdWorks, is that they get text messages and screenshots and emails from the people seeing them saying, wow, you're on Forbes or wherever it might be. So AdWorks is another great set it and forget it method to make sure that you're creating exposure.
And then the fourth piece is Content Hub. Guys, we cannot make this any easier for you. We've had outreach over the years about what do I post on all of my social media outlets? Where do I find content? We have ready to go content for you that takes 2 seconds to actually post on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So make sure to use it. Again, it isn't a set it and forget it, but it is a one-stop, find it in 30 seconds and get it posted. These are 4 baseline, very easy things that you can do to create exposure for your brand.
Yeah, and if you're using these now, one note, we can't see the chat right now in our high-tech studio, but one of the things that I really want you to do is if you're using these tools, if you're using direct mail or eCampaign or the AdWords Sphere or Content Hub, if you're using them, put it into the chat now. Let us know how it's going. Let us know what results or what sort of feedback you've received from your people, because we know that this works.
Yep, so now we want to talk about your steps as you're creating your baseline plan. So making a plan for the people who already know you. So what I want you to think about are how many people are in your CRM today? Because once you understand how many people you've gotten that you can focus on, then you can make a strategy for 2021 and determine what is my goal for adding contacts. You should, every time you go into a new year, you should be thinking about how many more people am I going to want to get to know or get in front of this year that I can add into my outreach. So think about who you've got today and then set a goal for how many contacts you want to include or add in 2021.
And knowing that number is really important. Look, we're not the first people in real estate. This isn't a new industry. We're not, the first brokerage to talk about creating exposure and making it systematized. So in this case, there is an analytical approach where you can expect how much business to get. So when we talk about calculating our outreach, and we use the 33 touch plan that we're going to talk through tomorrow, and many of you have already read about or heard about or seen us talk about, there is a 1-to-6 referral ratio. What does that mean? Well, if we have the 150 people in our database and we're touching them 33 times a year, and I know that sounds overwhelming if you haven't heard it before, we're going to talk through it. It's really simple. If you're touching them 33 times a year, you can expect 1 referral for every 6 people in your database. And here's what Amy was just saying in terms of how big your database is, how many can you add? As you add more people that you have relationships with, obviously the number of referrals that you're going to receive goes up.
So one of the things to think about, we use this number 150. And what I want you to think about right now is who are my A's, B's, and maybe my C's. That is what will make up whether it's your 100, your 150, or your 200. Now keep in mind, in your CRM, you might have 700 people. Who I want you to focus on are kind of those top, you know who those people are, the A's, B's, and C's, that if you stay in front of them consistently, the odds of you getting more business goes up. And we're going to talk tomorrow in coffee about how to get rid of the static, keep some of those other numbers in your CRM, but figure out how to hone in on your special number. So we're using 150. I feel like that is a really good, solid, doable number. And so if you focus on that 150, the first 2 things that you can do that are baseline and really easy to get in front of them and hit those 33 touches is your direct mail. We just talked about it. If you do direct mail once a month, that's 12 times you're hitting them a year. So that's already 12 out of the 33. The second thing to look at is your monthly newsletter. Again, it goes out once a month, so that's hitting them again 12 times a year. So just by doing the direct mail and having them in your e-monthly newsletter touch, that's already 24 out of the 33 touches. That's the baseline. Those again are the times where you just want them to know you've got a pulse and you are in real estate and you're ready to service and help them whenever they're ready.
Yes, no secret agents. Step 4 takes it the extra step. So that was the baseline. We've talked through the baseline. Here's where you go above and beyond. And this is really what seals the deal when it comes to relationships, when it comes to referrals. And so you have to up your game to that 150 or whatever that number becomes. So what we talk about during the 33 touch program is that once a quarter at a minimum, you have to touch each one of these people personally with relevant, with relationship building information. It has to be something specific to them, not a mass email, not anything that is a group focused. It's really that personal phone call, the text, the emails, the note cards, and ideally what these are conversation starters. So you can ask forward questions and be able to understand where they are in their life, not only in regards to real estate, but allowing you to be able to service them further and create a stronger relationship by rewarding them because of their successes at work or achievements outside of work, whatever it might be. And then beyond that, beyond the quarterly outreach, then 5 more special touches to make quality impact. And these are the seal the deal. These are the face-to-face, when possible, when safe, dropping off gifts, cap gifts, any of these things where it really elevates the relationship, where it makes them feel closer to you. And so please take advantage of these things, schedule them out. It's not overwhelming, and 150 people per year, this actually works out really simply, as long as Amy mentioned, we're coordinating, we're scheduling, we understand who we're reaching out to.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about making your plan, and that's what we're going to help you with this week. So on Coffee Tomorrow, we're going to dial into the 33 Touch program, but I also want to talk about exposure outside of your 150. So whatever your magic number is, whether it's 100 contacts, maybe it's 50 contacts that you're starting out with, or you've got 200 of those people that you're going to focus on, that's great. We're going to give you the plan for success to set up and outline your 2021 so that you're in front of them consistently. But then there's all of those other people, right? There's those people in your CRM or people that you know or you're connected with on Facebook or Instagram that aren't quite into your sweet spot of 150 right now. There are still ways to create exposure with the intent and the hope that you can get them over into that group of 150. That's AdWorks Sphere. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Content Hub and Agent Icon. And then we're also going to talk about clubs, organizations, hobbies, and your interests, and how all of these are going to help you create exposure to those people that are outside of your 150.
So AdWorks Sphere, we've talked about it already, but here's what's neat about AdWorks Sphere. It's not just the 150, like Amy was just talking about. It's about reaching beyond just the A's and B's or the top clients in your database. What you're able to do is upload as many email addresses as possible. But here's the note: the suggested range of the number of emails is around 750. So call it 500 to 800 is the sweet spot to make sure that the people that are in your AdWorks Sphere campaign see you frequently enough down the month. Now, those people that are going in there, again, don't micromanage it, don't overthink it, just put it in. And here's a pro tip: as you meet people at open houses, what you're able to do is simply add those people that registered into your AdWorks Sphere campaign. How is that cool? It's cool because as they're going about their day, they leave your open house, they go to brunch, they go to other open houses, they open their phone, they're surfing the web, and they see you. They just met you, and now they're seeing you on the web. So there's no better way to reinforce and start a relationship based on them being able to see the exposure you're creating already the moment they leave an open house. And if you don't have an AdWorks Sphere campaign right now, we're going to be reaching out to you to make sure that you understand what the details are, because this really is a non-negotiable, whether it is for your 150, for those people that you are focused on, or this exposure outside of your 150.
All great information, Kevin. So I want to talk about Content Hub again. So this is real-time social media content available for you anytime. It allows you to post things, which is really easy. So it's for your 150, but it's also when you're on Facebook, all of those people that don't necessarily know you or you have a slight relationship with. It allows you to start giving real content about the business and having those individuals start seeing your brand and seeing you as an expert in real estate. Then there's Agent Icon. Many of you are already using it, but it's that amazing functionality where you can simply take any of your photos from any of your listings, and within 30 seconds, once you send the email to Agent Icon, it will come back with a custom post that you can put on social media. The reason why this is so important is this is custom to you. This is related to your listings and your business. So as you're starting to show people, not just that you know everything about real estate, but that you're actually transacting deals, that's going to make a huge difference. So you've got to use Agent Icon as a way to show people what you are doing for your clients right now.
Yeah, it's so easy, Amy, because you don't have to be a design expert. You don't have to learn how to use Canva. It's all there for you. So the third way to create exposure outside of your 150 is clubs and organizations and hobbies and interests. And sometimes we get overwhelmed by this. Well, how am I going to join a club? Where am I going to find a club? Well, here's the deal. It has to be something, number one, that you enjoy doing. So if it involves pets and you are a dog lover, you are a cat lover, whatever it might be, choosing an organization or a hobby or a club that you're already involved in and not necessarily starting something new. So you're already comfortable with whatever the idea is that it's surrounding, and then putting yourself out there, which I know sometimes is difficult for us because it's a challenge where are we doing it for sales or are we doing it to benefit our community? Well, it can be both. It can be fostering and growing relationships and starting relationships, adding to your database, but at the same time, benefiting those around you and our communities. So I know that there is a website called Meetup, right?
Yes, it is. It's called Meetup, and it isn't what you think, people, but it's Meetup. And what it really does is it pulls all different types of common interests. So if you enjoy wine and you want to connect with other wine enthusiasts, there is a meetup group. There's ones in the city, there's ones in all different types of communities. I actually had agents a couple of years ago who were sort of in a shift in their business. They had just moved outside of the community where most of their transactions had taken place over the last 15 years. And so they were kind of fish out of water, trying to figure out, how do we meet new people? Their kids had grown and had moved on. And so they were kind of redeveloping themselves and reconnecting with new individuals. And so we joked about it at a meeting, and I said, you should check out meetup.com. And sure enough, they did. And what they ended up finding is a place where they could go every Wednesday to walk. They liked going outdoors and they loved being in the forest preserve. And every Wednesday, this group would go to a different forest preserve in Lake County and do a 2-hour walk. So simply by wanting to get fit and feeling healthier, they introduced themselves to a new group of over 30 people that they saw every Wednesday. And it took a little bit of time, but as they started to talk about their business, people started asking questions, and they ended up getting not just one, but 2 referrals out of this group. And it was just something that they wanted to do to enjoy themselves, meet new people, and it resulted into growing their business.
And sometimes we have to get over ourselves with this, right? The people that are already doing this on these meetup groups or whatever it might be, the Cardigan Appreciation Club, whatever it might be, they are there for the same reason. So everyone's in the same boat. And especially now over the last 10 months, with everything that we've changed, I know a lot of us are seeking more connection. So beyond business, beyond anything else, it's an opportunity to meet those that are interested in the same things we are.
Yep. And so what we also want to talk about this week is creating exposure and weaving the 3 most important things into your brand message. The first is talking about brand success. So when you are doing direct mail or you are posting things on social media, one of the most important things you can show is the success your brand is creating for individuals. And that is pushing some of the testimonials that you've gotten from past clients or certain case studies about what you've done to really help a client move into a great house or help them move out of a home. So creating testimonials as showing brand success. That's the first thing that you should consider when you are posting things out there. The second thing is transactional experience. People need to know that you're in the business and you're making things happen. So creating and showing your just listeds, your under contracts, and your solds. That's where Agent Icon comes in. And you can really use that as a way to make sure that people see that you're transacting in real estate right now. And then the third thing is market knowledge. People are always curious about what's happening in real estate. This has been a very interesting year, both for the stock market and what's happening in real estate. So people are curious about their investments. And if you can show your market knowledge by giving insight into a particular area, talking about market time, month supply of inventory, things we think are going to be happening as we head into 2021, that is going to be very impactful. So remember these 3: identifying and showing your brand success, showing that you are transacting and that you've got experience, and then showing you understand the market and conveying your market knowledge.
That's really great, those 3 things. We're going to talk more in depth tomorrow. So there will be a link that goes out with Coffee with Amy and Kevin. So you'll be able to see that link anytime before 9:30. It will come out. Watch your email as it comes out every Tuesday, and make sure that you take the time to watch it. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about
the 33 Touch program. I know we briefly talked about it this morning, but we're going to go into it in a little bit more detail and help you set up a creative outreach plan for 2021.
And we're going to talk through social media how-tos. So we're going to talk through the obvious ones: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the best way to create exposure for your brand on each one of those, because they are all different. And we're going to toss in a bonus: Pinterest.
Yes, if you follow me, you can see all the projects I have not completed in my house to date, but it'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on in my world. And then we're going to talk about leveraging your listings for exposure. Don't underestimate the business you have right now and getting it out there to create more exposure and grow your business.
And we're going to talk about what we touched on today in terms of growing your database, increasing the number in your database. The rule is you have to at least increase your database by 15% every year, because your database dwindles away by 15% every year. So we're going to talk through how to maximize increasing your database, how to do it intelligently, how to do it in a relationship building way, as opposed to going out and collecting business cards at some random annoying networking event.
And then the resources for success for this week, we've got a creating brand exposure worksheet. So this allows you to really kind of take a step back and see where you're at, what you did this year, and what some of your goals are as you're heading into 2021 for making sure you're creating the right exposure for your brand and your business. We've also included an outreach calculation worksheet. So this is going to allow you to figure out what your number is. Today we used 150 as an example, but it's going to be your number and multiplied by some of the key factors in your business to figure out what your referral outcome will be once you calculate it. Then we've got the 33 touch plan included as well. So you can take a look at that and outline your plan for 2021. And then as a bonus, I put in 10 amazing social media ideas to get maximum exposure for your business. It'll just get you thinking about some of the things you can be doing to push your brand and create exposure moving forward.
And one of the comments I want to make really quickly here is I mentioned it earlier that we talk sometimes about the same things, right? You've heard a lot of these things before, but here's the reality. When you're thinking, I've heard this before, ask yourself, but am I doing it? Am I doing the baseline? Am I going above and beyond? Am I maximizing the referral potential? Am I maximizing my relationship potential? Because I know a lot of times we shut down or we dismiss things when we've heard them multiple times, but really, are you doing AdWorks? Are you doing the monthly mailer? Think about that and think about your business. Tomorrow, we're going to talk through how you can maximize that outreach. So thank you. Make it a great day. And remember,
love yourself,
love others,
and love what you do.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.